Okay, hi, I'm Ruben. This is my pops holding the camera here, and we're doing a quick little video talking about water heater replacement. We're going to show a water heater being replaced from start to finish. Got to start off by saying I'm not a plumber, he's not a plumber. We're just giving you a quick little overview of how this is done. And as far as the permit process goes and what homeowners can legally do, it's actually okay for you to replace your own water heater as the owner occupant of a single family home. You still need to pull a permit to do the work, but it is legal for you to do the work yourself on your own house. And so this is my dad's house, this is Neil's house, and he pulled a permit to do this, and he's doing it today. So we're gonna kind of go over the whole thing. First thing to do, and we did this before we started recording, is to drain the tank. That's a long, boring process. So, and then you start taking everything apart. I guess we could start with the gas piping. The first thing you do before you disconnect the gas pipe is you shut it off. You follow this line back to where it connects to the manifold, and that's what we've got here. This valve is already shut off now. Anytime you got a valve that's parallel to the pipe, it's on. Once it's perpendicular, it's off. So we shut the gas off, follow that line back down here, and we get our wrenches and we disconnect everything. Now, we've already got it kind of loosened, so we're not going to show that whole process. It's just kind of hand tightened right now. Normally I'd take a wrench and loosen this all up, but we already did that ahead of time just to make this easy. So we'll disconnect that, and we'll take this thing. Usually you can't spin these because the sediment trap at the bottom here is going to hit on the water heater. So you're going to need to get a wrench, and you're going to need to disconnect the sediment trap. We already did that.
And how long should that sediment trap be?
That's a great question, Pops. 3 inches in Minnesota. 3 inches is the minimum. What are we doing here? Oh, we're going to measure. All right, here. Check it out. Ooh, that's a code-compliant sediment trap.
The previous one was not code compliant.
Oh, you fixed it.
I had to get a 3-inch pipe.
Well done.
Thank you.
And the name for a short little length of pipe is a
what? You're talking about the nipple?
A nipple.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. If you're at the store, you're looking for what they're labeled. It's a nipple. So now our gas piping is all disconnected, and then we've got the pressure relief valve, temperature and pressure relief valve. This is a safety device. Prevents the water heater from exploding if it were ever to malfunction and start building up with pressure. This would discharge water. And you wouldn't want a kid or pet or somebody standing underneath this if it did discharge suddenly. So you're always supposed to have a big pipe coming off the end of it. Now, national codes typically say this pipe should come down within 6 inches of the floor. In Minnesota, our plumbing code actually says it needs to come down within 18 inches of the floor.
What does that one measure?
Sure looks close to 6 to me. We don't need the noise of that. It's 6 1/4. So this would not meet national codes, but for Minnesota, it's longer than 18, or it's within 18 inches of the floor.
Very good.
So it's perfectly fine here. So we'll put a wrench on here. I'll use my vice grip hands. And
Wow.
Yep. I didn't loosen that ahead of time.
Uh-huh.
So we'll just disconnect that. We'll save this pipe because this is going to go on the new water heater. Might as well head over there now with these fittings, and we'll connect all this. You've got copper tubing coming right down directly into the water heater. When we replace this, we're going to need to cut that open, and what a lot of people end up doing is you end up cutting it, and then you got to solder a new fitting in there, and every time you replace it, you solder a new fitting, or you solder the pipe back together. What makes for a much faster replacement is if you actually have something called a union. And that's a device where you can just take a wrench and you unscrew the connection. This is a union. These are called dielectric unions. There's this inside of here. Oh, inside of here we got this little piece of plastic and a rubber washer, and this isolates the metal, so you don't have any. It prevents a galvanic reaction from occurring between the dissimilar metals.
And what's a galvanic reaction?
You'd have to ask a chemist. I don't know, but it causes corrosion.
Got it.
So let's see here. So we're going to put dielectric unions on here. The new Minnesota State Plumbing Code that just went into effect, I don't know, about a year ago or so, it actually says that it comments on unions in the water heater section. It says unions are required when the authority having jurisdiction says they're required. So it gives the AHA the authority to require them. It doesn't specifically say they're needed everywhere in Minnesota. I'd say it's time to head on over to the original water heater. We got to figure out the height of where we need to cut the pipe. So we marked it already. We're going to cut right at those two locations.
But prior to that, we're going to disconnect this vent material.
Yes. Now we're ready to cut the pipes. And there should be no water in here, so this should be really easy to cut, right?
And you've got your nice pipe cutter.
Yeah, we got a couple different pipe cutters. Here's the traditional pipe cutter. These are tedious. I don't like those. Nicer one is it's a one-trick pony. It's a cutter that's designed to do one thing. It cuts one size of pipe. This happens to be the 3/4 inch cutter, and you just throw it on there. It's got a little arrow showing you which direction you turn it. You throw it on there, you put it right in the middle of that line, and all you do is just spin it. And it's got a little spring inside, so it adjusts itself. You don't need to keep making it tighter. And it cuts it. So what we're hearing right now is there's air not going that way. It's going this way. That's the cold water, and so air's going in, and then hot is coming back out. We release a little bit of pull there. We'll do the same thing on the other pipe. And now we're ready to slide that water heater out of there.
Okay.
So now the next thing is to get this on here. We're going to sweat it.
So you got the rubber gasket there.
Got the rubber gasket in place.
That's being engaged with the nut.
I hope so. If it's not, you'll know it wasn't engaged as soon as we turn the water on.
What's going to happen then?
You're going to have a mess.
Okay.
Okay. That's tight enough, right?
No.
Let me give it another. Alright. How's that? Good? You don't trust my vice grip hands this time?
No.
Okay.
Very nice.
That feels good. Alright, so we got that connected. Now we'll move on to the vent. Fittings here. Do you have the draft hood for this water heater?
Funny you should ask.
Because you have it.
Look what happened to come with the water heater.
Look at that. A draft hood. Beautiful.
How is that pitch?
That pitch doesn't look too great. I'd say
We'll
get
cut.
rid of this.
We'll cut some of that. I want to get this engaged. There's little
What do we get
holes.
right there?
There's holes here to engage that in.
Good.
We'll just get rid of this.
Yep.
Sweet.
Beautiful.
Well, I'd say that's got a pretty nice pitch.
Yeah. So, alright, we've got all this put back together. The code minimum on the vent connector is 1/4 inch rise per foot. Pretty much that's the minimum for everything. You need 1/4 inch rise per foot. So we definitely have that here. That looks nice. And now we'll just connect it. All we need to do is get some sheet metal screws. You put 3 in every joint, fasten it all together, and then we're good.
That looks
Okay.
nice. Now, should we
Get the
connect?
draft hood all
How about
put
if we
together.
connect the gas?
That's not tight enough, huh?
That could use a little bit more tightening.
All right.
Yes, I would agree. If we open that gas valve, that would get a little stinky.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna turn the gas back on. Here we are. Gas goes on, and we happen to be using a gas sniffer. If we didn't have the gas sniffer handy, well, we just put our noses up to the joints and make sure we don't smell any leaks. And you can also just use a soap bubble solution and put it on all those joints and look for any leaks. If there's a leak, you're going to see it bubbling. I'd say we have no leaks. That all looks wonderful.
I would agree.
All right, should we light the pilot?
I'd say let's
All right.
fill it before we light
All
the
right,
water.
so we're going to fill it. We'll stop. Perfect. All right, so we're basically done with the water heater install at this point. We've reconnected the gas piping, we turned the gas on, we checked for leaks, we connected the water piping, the vent. We're all set to go. Last thing to do is to light the pilot. It's got a control valve right at the top here. Once we turn this over to the pilot position, there's a little arrow here. When the arrow points at pilot, it's going to let me force gas to the pilot light. Normally, it doesn't allow gas to go there. It's kind of a safety device. It'll only allow gas to flow if it's hot. It's a safety device called a thermocouple. But if you switch this over to the pilot position, you hold it down, it's going to force gas to go there even though you've got a cold thermocouple. So we hold it down for a little while. It takes a little bit of time for the gas to actually get all the way down in there and start flowing to that thermocouple. It'll start flowing to the pilot. But it's probably been long enough now. And on the old water heaters, you had to stick a match or something inside there to get it lit. Newer ones, they've just got a little igniter. So I'm going to look down inside here. There's going to be a little window where I can see it. Okay, so I've held the pilot light down for a little bit of time here. I've got the thermocouple nice and warm. I should be able to let go of this and then it'll just stay on. Let's see, I let go. Yep, pilot light stayed on. And now the last step, we're just going to flip this valve over to on. That's a nice sound.
That is a good sound.
Okay. It's we'll come up here and we'll check to make sure that it's drafting properly. Put my hands here at the draft hood, and it's drafting fine. All the exhaust gases are going up and out. There's nothing spilling back into the home. And then the last thing we're going to do is a worst case scenario test. We're gonna turn on the clothes dryer. We're going to turn on the bath fans, the kitchen fan, everything that removes air from the home. We're going to have those all going at the same time, and we're going to make sure the water heater still drafts even under that worst case scenario. And assuming it does, we're done. That's it.
Should I get that?